That was making any of the other girl.
Upside down.
That's the security thing? Perfect, okay. Okay, I was so excited, you like, you might get something. And I was like, no.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. We'll go ahead and call our February board of directors meeting to order. If you'll stand with me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We opened each of our meetings with the reading of our mission and vision statements. Tika's gonna read for us tonight.
All right, mission statement. High Point Academy's mission is cultivating lifelong learners in a student-centered environment. Vision statement. High Point Academy vision is to be an exemplary school of choice for academically minded families.
Thank you, and Matt will read our 3 R's.
We practice the 3 R's, rights, the right to a quality education, the right to a safe environment, the right to reach my potential. Respect, I will respect my classmates, I will respect my teachers, I will respect myself. Responsibility, I am responsible for my education, I'm responsible for my actions, I'm responsible for my opportunities.
Thank you, and Debbie is going to do our invocation.
Let us pray. Father God, we're just so thankful to be here tonight, and we just thank you for each and every student and teacher, faculty member, staff member at High Point, Father God, and just what they mean to these children. Lord, I just pray that you would just be with us tonight, that you would just guide us in all the decisions that are made, and just be with everyone who's presenting tonight, that we can just have a blessed time as they present. We ask this in your name, amen.
Thank you. First order of business is to approve the meeting agenda for today, February 26, 2024. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
Motion.
Thank you, Matt. Is there a second?
Second.
Kyle, all in favor? Any opposed? Wonderful. All right, looks like we have some wonderful students to recognize tonight.
Well, we do. Thank you very much. We will start with our elementary students. Ms. Buster, please.
Tonight, and from elementary school, we are going to honor our 4th and 5th grade students who had the highest math scores for our winter math testing that we had in December. So I would like to honor our highest math in 4th grade is Doc. Doc, you can come on up. I have a certificate for you. For our highest ELA math score for 4th grade would be James. For our 5th graders, our highest math score is Adley, and she is not here tonight. And then our highest 5th grade ELA is Kingston. If you've ever seen the 4th or 5th grade math test, this is an amazing award for them because it is not easy. So congratulations and great job to all of you.
Good evening, I'm Tucker Hammond, principal of High Point Academy Middle School, and I have the honor of recognizing Montserrat Martinez Moore. Come up, Montserrat, because I'm gonna talk a little bit about her. This is not the usual student spotlight. What this is this is a person that, in our opinion, has gone above and beyond several things that we asked to do. At the beginning of the year, I told all our students, we have several teachers in here, always to do the right thing. Monse always strives to do the right thing. She is always in class, making great grades, doing what she needs to do to help other students, especially our Spanish-speaking students. She speaks much more fluent English and Spanish than I do. She's also currently, I was surprised to see her here tonight because I know she's going to Florida in the morning, possibly, maybe even tonight, Mom, I'm not sure. But they are going through a U.S. immigration, so she's getting her U.S. Citizenship. We support her in all of that. She is a model citizen, I can truly attest to that, but this is more just for Monse doing what we expect our High Point Academy students to do. So, congratulations.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Cox. I'm the assistant principal at the high school, and I have the honor tonight of recognizing 6 outstanding students for their accomplishments on their wrestling team and what they were able to accomplish. We had 3 students that were state finalists that we would like to recognize. Ms. Lainey Rhodes, Ms. Haley Scoggins, Noah Thomas. We had 1 student that finished 3rd in the wrestling finals, and that was Ms. Alex Creel. And we had 2 state champions, and they marked the 10th and 11th time we have had a state champion here at High Point Academy. So we are very proud to present this certificate to Mr. Saeed Gazmov. And Mr. Luke Johannes. And all of these students, because I know nothing about wrestling, but I do know academics, all of these students have a 3.5 or higher GPA.
That is wonderful. Congratulations to all of you students and families. As we're going through that, I couldn't help but recognize we have our academics recognized this evening, our character in our students, how they develop, and then even our athletics recognized by our students. You guys are just encompassing everything that, you guys are doing wonderful things for the school and for your families. Appreciate everything you guys are accomplishing. Congratulations again. Families, you all are welcome to stay for the rest of our board meeting, but also if you have plans this evening to head on out, now is your time to go. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is our approval of the minutes from the January 22nd, 2024 board meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Debbie, is there a second?
Second.
Matt, any discussion regarding the minutes? Any thoughts, questions? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, wonderful. January 2024 financial report. We gotta get you a certificate too, don't we?
So per usual, your days cash on hand, is still very healthy at 122, days, basically 4 months. If you want to look at it, months of your operating expenses, which again means that if revenue stopped, you'd be able to operate for 4 months, but of course, that's not gonna happen. The number below it though is, the enrollment, 1202 is as of the 116 day count. And basically, the 135 day count is whenever it's finalized, so you can kind of see it's below the budget enrollment number at this time. So the 135 day count will happen before the next board meeting, in which case we can have an adjustment on that budget to actualize it to what the actual 135th day is, because that's what your funding is actually finalized as of, is the 135th day every single year, and it trues up from that point on. The actual budget right now, based off of the 1280, is $440,000 to the positive. You have to be at or above $190,000 basically. There's a little math we can do with some capital improvement stuff, which we can talk about next month potentially, to meet the 1.1 debt service coverage ratio that you need to meet every single year. The net income reflected on this dashboard is $70,733. I'm gonna scroll down to the income statement real quick, just to kind of show where that comes from. The actual net income currently through January 31st is $771,000 to the positive, but you do have a payroll accrual. The teacher contracts run August to August, so the July payroll expense isn't like really reflected in this, which is why the percent remaining is a little bit lower than 58% you would see usually used in salaries and benefits. So below the line there, kind of estimated what that July expense, because the June payroll is going to have June and July basically. Not the full month of July, but a good portion of it, as well as what the debt service payment for January is. And so that payroll accrual number will kind of stay there, so it's not really going to change, but every month you'll see an additional $160,000 basically for the debt service payable, because that similarly doesn't occur until actually June, where it will hit the books, because it's a semi-annual sweep. About you can see on the reports actually, about 38% of it, the interest expense happened in December, and then your other half, the interest and principal, is going to happen in June. So I just wanted to make it kind of clear that right now, with those things kind of factored in, that's where that net income number of $70,000 through January 31st is coming from.
David, that's an actual 70,000, not a projected 70,000. That's not what you project at the end of the fiscal year, but it's right now minus those things, correct?
Yeah, it's the $771,000 minus the estimated July expense and January's thing.
And where does depreciation fit into here? I guess I'm wondering, how does capital fit into?
We're actually just reporting on a modified accrual basis, so there's no depreciation reported on here. On the audit, they do a depreciation schedule and whatnot, but and they report both on the full accrual and a modified governmental basis, but not on the
Is
state.
the debt service ratio, does it include depreciation or is it pulled out?
It's pulled out.
Okay. Gotcha.
I have another question, but I don't want to interrupt you again. Okay. Back on the first page, we talk about operating cash and restricted cash. Is the restricted cash a portion of the operating cash?
No. So the operating cash is just the operating account and the other First Citizens ones. The restricted cash is your U.S. Bank restricted, like when $106,000 happens every month, it goes from the operating account to the U.S. Bank trustee account, but it's on your books.
Yep.
As well as the investment account.
Yep. So that's the bond. U.S. Bank is the bond account plus the investment account. That's our restricted.
Yeah.
Is it restricted because it's in an investment account?
Yeah.
Not
We
required to
invested-
be held back for any loan?
No. We just invested it, $2 million.
So it's not collateral.
Can you go to that second page? I know a lot of times you'll help explain to us what that percentage on the end, and those seem to be kind of all over the place this month.
Yeah, so 58% used through January is kind of what you want to see, 8.3% per month. The revenues, close to, or is right there, basically. The salaries and benefits is a little bit lower, again, because, a big reason is because of that July piece not being in there. So it's kind of a month out. And then, the purchase services and supplies, usually the schools front load. There are, a good number of lines that are like close to going over, but there's none that are really super dangerous. You know, we have some capital stuff in there too, like the lunch tables, et cetera. And then the 38% is that mainly is the debt service, which again, like $750,000 of it was interest in December, and then in June, another $750,000 for interest, and then plus another $400,000 of sale principal. Happened, which is why it's not 50% at this time. And then overall 54% remaining. So again, a large portion has debt service and payroll pool kind of happening later, which is why we're kind of showing those below the line, I guess.
So I assume interest is taken out of the debt service ratio as well?
The interest, like add back. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like
so
depreciation?
the debt service coverage ratio, it's basically the net income, add back the interest, add back capital expenditures, but we're not factoring depreciation.
What numbers can we look at as a board if we're trying to think about capital expenditures in the future? What can we look at that would help us know what we could possibly even consider?
So your days cash on hand is 122 days. Your actual requirement, I think, is 60 days. So you have the cash to, spend on capital improvements. The thing is, just have to make sure that they are, in fact, capital improvements, because they have to be classified as such in order to be added back to your ratio in the numerators. So you do have, if we kind of like at the
Whatever, 63 days or whatever cash day.
Yes.
Days on hand.
Yeah, and what I think was that the daily cash funds around between $35,000 and $40,000. So.
And then you said capital improvements, it just can't be an expense, it needs to be a capital.
Yeah.
Understand.
Thank you.
Any other questions for David? All right, thank you, appreciate it. All right, next up is our superintendent's report.
Oh, thank you very much. My report today is brief. We'll have more coming at you next month. Wait for Katie to switch over back. There's our quote for the day, for the month. We try to instill that in our students. If you're passionate about it, it should be worthy of your time involved in the whole process. Go ahead, Ms. Nesberg. Some general updates. Shelley?
Okay, about every 6 years, our state adopts new standards. And this year, new English language arts standards were adopted. And next year will be math. And at the year of that adoption, when they revise, edit, re-adopt standards, we also re-adopt textbooks and instructional materials. And so this year has been a period of review for the major publishers. The state is going to basically purchase for us to have access to. And I'm going to give you a piece of paper, and what you're looking at, we should pass one around, are some notes that I took. I went to what's called a textbook caravan, where the publishers that we're reviewing do presentations and tell us about their product. And they give us presentations, and that is a copy. It has a link on it. If you want to look at their presentations, I can give you an electronic copy of that, so that you can go to that link. It's on the State Department website and see. But in addition to the online presentations and that they are sending us copious amounts of these packets of these type of samples. Okay, so we have them from every grade in English, from the two major, the big hitters that you're going to see are the first two on that list, and that's HMH, which I think is the one I have listed first. Is that correct? Yeah, HMH first. Okay.
Just a second.
Okay, great. The first one is McGraw-Hill, which is one of the big ones that we've used in the past, and HMH, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. is another one. At this point, I would say we might be leaning towards that, but the teachers need to review this and vote on what they like. You'll see some of the bullet points are just some perks that I thought from each of the two big ones especially. I will like to point out that HMH has recently purchased NWEA, which is the owner of MAP. And we do MAP testing, and we're very heavily involved in MAP testing. And you can see on there that they are correlating a lot of their resources that will directly line up with those MAP scores and those skills and those MAP scores. That would be a big help for our teachers in giving them resources, but that's just one of their perks. The teachers are reviewing the samples, the kits, they're talking about it and what? Oh, you, okay. Okay. And I will say, like I said, this is just an electronic little link there. If you need that, we'll let you look at that. But I want to point out too that every 6 years we adopt new textbooks, either online, hard copies. That doesn't mean that we at High Point Academy are changing our curriculum. Okay, so we teach the standards and we have curriculum that we use. That doesn't mean that if the state adopts, these two, we do have to select one, and that's what we're asking you to do today is when it comes time for us to make our selection, you would approve that. And so that we can go into this, to the state and say, we've selected McGraw-Hill or HMH, and our board has approved that. That means that we are allowed to order it, and it's paid for by the state. But we can order these materials from the state textbook depository, and the teachers can use it as a resource. It doesn't mean they have to teach it, but they can use it as a resource. It's not we are mandating, or the state is mandating and changing curriculum. We at High Point Academy have our curriculum. We would consider this as another tool in our toolbox that the teachers have access to. But the state does require that our selection is board approved. So I'm happy to answer questions that you may have, or if you want additional information about that process. But we'll be doing this again next year for math and the math textbooks as well.
Will we have a recommendation for the next board meeting for them?
Yes, we will have a recommendation for the next board meeting, and so we will be asking you to approve that so that I can go in then to the state and say, High Point Academy selects, McGraw-Hill or HMH as for our textbook adoption, and then the principals and assistant principals can go in and order those for the teachers using their classroom as they see fit.
These, where you say the ELA standards, these are to start for next school year.
Mhm.
Okay. And then tell me again, is there any expense for us on the updates?
No, this is state approved. This is like what you see if you read the SCASA legislative update or whatever, you see that big $1 million fund for instructional materials.
Right.
That's the new textbooks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we adopt.
Mm-hmm. One that's on the approved state list. Like I said, we can use that at our discretion in our school.
And when do you have to have our approval? Yes, for next month, but when would you need our approval?
I think I have to have it submitted before the 30th. No, yes.
Of March?
Mhm.
Okay, so it would be next month.
Mhm.
Okay.
So by the next board meeting, if I could have that approval, I can just, it's a survey, like a Google form survey that I've got to go in with the state and complete.
They've got to order it, and then we've got to have time to get it before
Right,
school year.
that's what I wanted to make sure.
We'd like to get it to the teachers by June, so they have some time
Right.
to work with the textbook
Right.
over the summer.
And the only other thing I wanted to update on, for Ms. Norman, who's not able to be here tonight, is about recruitment, teacher recruitment. We do have a few needs, teacher-wise, predominantly in the high school, but we do have a few needs. And Ms. Norman and I have been attending teacher recruitment fairs. We just recently, last week, went to College of Charleston, Charleston Southern, and Citadel. I'm going to Converse tomorrow. And, it's just, we talk and collect resumes, and I usually like to give them the speech of why you should consider charter when you graduate from college. But so just to let you know that we are actively pursuing the best and the brightest that are coming out of our state schools to fill our needs.
Can I go back? I actually have another question about the textbook.
Sure.
Which one are we currently using?
What is it? It's not even.
What we have currently is not in adoption anymore.
Okay.
we use literacy footprints.
Right.
And don't go by a basal text.
Okay.
So right now, we use bits and pieces, of those as resources, but we have chosen to kind of veer away from that. So it would be good, it's gonna be great to have these as a resource to go along with what we're gonna be teaching.
Because they are aligned to the new standards.
They are, and I did wanna mention, because you asked about the standards, the new standards are required next year, but I know in elementary, we have already introduced those to our teachers. We have already started using those,
Right.
so that it's not brand new, even though we're not tested on those this year. Teachers are becoming familiar with them, so when we do have the new resources, we can jump right in.
Smooth transition.
Just so you remember, our literacy footprints was involved with ESER.
Yes.
Right. And so then whatever is chosen will stay for, well, that will be our plan for 6 years.
Yeah, that's what, if we go in and we order those books, then we get, like, they're consumable nowadays, so we get a new fresh one every year. We don't have no longer I know the assistant principal's almost one wants to have a barcode and don't have none of that anymore, which is awesome. But really the online resources are gonna be really helpful.
Any other questions for Shelley about those two?
Building updates has been moved to our executive session.
Yes.
And then important dates for everyone to remember, March 21st to the 24th is Shrek the Musical. Our teachers, our board, are our best ambassadors to pack our house and have people see our play. If you haven't seen one of our plays, you missed it. Last year we did Frozen, and they had little kids with those little things running all over the place. So if you get an opportunity to come see Shrek the Musical, please come. We'd love to have you. Open house is April the 11th. Open house this year is going to be for everyone who has been accepted into the lottery and anyone who is called or has interest. We will be doing an open house on April the 11th for anyone who's interested in that. And we're gonna bring those people in, and we're gonna try to make sure we confirm our lottery people and make sure they have an opportunity to come to the school and put a face with people. So that will be on April the 11th. Mr. Lancaster is heading that up for me. Graduation is May 17th, and Jerome Rice, the mayor of Spartanburg, will be our speaker. Jerome is a super good fella, and he played football with a good friend of mine at Wake Forest, so he's gotta be a good guy to play football. So, anyway, 3 important dates for you all to know, and make plans. Board, probably the 1st of May, you'll be getting your graduation packet with tickets and parking space and all those type of things. The only other thing I have is a proposed field trip for a year away, but it is a 4-night over trip to New York. Chase is going to be heading it up, and I told him he could speak, and he has to be brief no matter how long it takes.
Where do you want me? Okay. For those that I haven't met, I'm Chase McAfee, and I'm the chorus teacher here, and I also head up the big school musical every year. So if you want to come see Shrek, shoot me an email, let me know how many tickets you need, and we'll make sure we get tickets. So we have been invited to perform at Carnegie Hall next year. I know I said when we approved the Disney trip 2 years ago that I would do that every 3 years, but I could not pass this one up. I'm gonna read my little spiel, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail and answer any questions you have. The High Point Academy Honors Concert Choir has been personally invited by Dr. Anthony Barnaducci. He's the professor of choral music at Clemson University to perform at Carnegie Hall as part of his Carnegie Hall conducting debut. This is a huge honor because it's typically a requirement for ensembles to go through an audition process to be part of a performance like this. The direct invitation bypasses the audition process for our group. We will be performing Mozart's Coronation Mass, a large oratorio that will be performed with combined choirs from all over the country, as well as a professional orchestra composed of musicians from the local New York City music scene, New York Philharmonic, the Met, and Broadway. He invited 3 total choirs to be part of this. It was us, Fountain High School, and Seneca High School. And the reason he was able to do that, they give the directors options of local ensembles that they believe would be able to perform in this at this level. And those were the 3 schools that he selected. Ours is one of them. The educational value of this trip, number one, it's Carnegie Hall. It's probably the most famous venue of classical music performances, definitely in our country, probably the world outside of the Sydney Opera House and the Opera House in Italy. Students will have the opportunity to perform one of Mozart's most famous and challenging works on the world's most famous stage while working with one of our country's leading choral conductors and educators. Like I said, he's the professor of choral music at Clemson University. He's been all over the country conducting all state choirs and different workshops and things. So it'll be a really great experience for them, not only because they'll get to see what their future could be should they decide to go to Clemson and sing, because it's a local university, but it's always helpful if they hear the same thing I say from somebody new because of the lecture. They will also on this trip have the opportunity to see a Broadway show. It's part of the package that I worked up with the company. We're probably going to look at Wicked, Lion King, or Hadestown. Those are the three kind of more popular ones. Some of the kids want to do Hamilton, but it's a little too expensive, so we're going to skip that one this time. They also have the option for a meet and greet with the cast as they come out after the show. So we have a lot of musical theater heavy students in our high school honor choir. So that would be a good experience for them to be able to ask questions, talk to them, that kind of thing. They'll also have an opportunity to see one of our world's most famous cities, the different landmarks and parks and buildings, the architecture, the history, the culture, all of those things are in New York City. We'll get all sorts of amazing cultural experiences with the food. And it's just a good, in my opinion, and I feel like most people would agree that it's good for them to see outside of our little Spartanburg bubble. And New York seems kind of scary at first. I've been there a few times. It's not. It's a lot of fun. With this trip, some of the different things that it includes is, well, let me talk about the cost. So the cost of the trip is going to be around $2,400. What is included in that is the travel cost. That includes their flight. That includes the bus from the airport to the hotel. It's 5 days and 4 nights in a Times Square hotel. Usually they either go with the Sheraton or the Holiday Inn right there because it's only a few blocks from Carnegie Hall. It's a few blocks from Central Park. It's like 3 blocks from Times Square. There's lots of restaurants and delis and quick things for food. The tickets to the Broadway show are included. We have a night where we get to pick what we do, and I went to Top of the Rock the last time I was up there, which was a few weeks ago, and it is incredible because you are up on this giant viewing platform at the top of Rockefeller Center, and you have a 360 view of the entire city. You can see over to Jersey, you can see over to Long Island, and you can see all the different buildings lit up at night. It's such a cool experience, and there's some pictures on there you'll see later. The other really, really fun thing is the buffet dinner cruise on the Hudson, and there's a picture of the ship later on. It's a cruise that leaves out of the west side of Manhattan. It sails around the bottom of Manhattan, so they'll get to see the World Trade Center and the Memorial and I think they call it One World Trade Center now. It sails up past the Brooklyn Bridge, all lit up, and then it comes back around Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty with all kinds of different photo ops there too. And it's also the Carnegie Hall residency, which includes tickets and things for all the chaperones who were there to be able to witness the performance and everything. The only real downside of this trip is there will not be a recording because Carnegie Hall has very strict recording laws and rules. They do not allow any sort of video recording or audio recording in the building because they believe that if you're going to experience the music, it needs to be done live. And there, I also have a sample itinerary up here as well. There's some more pictures. This is what like our normal rehearsal day would look like. So this will be the first day of rehearsal. The travel day would be day 1. We would leave here from the school probably around 5 or 6 o'clock to get to Charlotte Airport. The reason we're leaving from Charlotte Airport is because it knocks off about $150 on the cost of that flight versus $500 to $600, $200 to $300. So we would have a long rehearsal in the morning. There's a short bathroom water break, lunch, which we would do one of the quicker options around the hotel or Times Square. Same thing, another longer rehearsal, then dinner, then our show, and then room checks and lights out because you see how early we got to get up for breakfast. They're going to have their butts in bed by 11. And just as a personal anecdote, I went up with 2 of our students who auditioned and got into one of the Honors Performance Series programs at Carnegie Hall, something completely separate from the school. I just nominate students who I think would be talented enough to put in the hard work to be able to do that. And 2 of ours, Haley Roberts and Maggie McCoy, both are sophomores, got chosen for that. So they went up, and I actually got to go up as a professional development as a chaperone with the company. And so I had a group of 14 kids that I was watching over the whole time up there in rehearsals with, helping with music and everything. So there's one of the pictures I took from the dinner cruise on the way back to the island. And there's a picture of the boat as well. that we were on. That thing was insane. That I also took that picture as well. Now that's not New York. That's actually that's Jersey on that side. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to hit before I answer any questions.
Chase, let me just add,
Yes.
if you approve the trip tonight, 1 month before they go, you will do another approval. And the board has the right to pull the trip even up to the last minute, depending upon national emergencies or safety and those type of things.
And we would make it a requirement for each traveler to purchase the insurance too. That way they'd be able to get whatever the insurance dictates back.
Right, our approval tonight is to basically approve what the plan is, so they can go ahead and start. But it's gonna take some time to put all this together.
Correct, and I've already talked to our fundraising, Michelle Kutras, I don't know if anybody knows her, she's done a lot of fundraising with High Point over the years. I've already talked to her about getting some stuff together. I'm in the talks with some fireworks vendors to hopefully run a fireworks stand for 4th of July. That can bring in some pretty extensive cash. Planning to do a bunch of car washes. Most of the families, I sent out a Google form to see who all would be able to afford and what they'd be able to afford. Most of our families have said they could, with a year's time to plan, be able to afford at least half of the trip or more. So I don't think we'll have really any issues as far as that, as long as we fundraise heavily for it.
But if someone can't afford it, we will definitely make sure we fundraise and assist.
Yeah.
We cannot exclude someone just for the money.
Right.
What are the dates for it?
It will be March 19th through the 23rd of 2025.
Chase,
Yeah.
how many voices will be in the choir total? Like
The total choir, usually they try to keep it around 200. So if our entire group went, we would be 1/4 of that choir.
Yeah, I was gonna be nice.
Yeah, because my group tends to hover between like 35 and 45, depending on the year. So, which is huge, because that doesn't happen.
What grades are in your honor choir?
9 through 12.
I do.
Yeah, it's only high school.
And how many adults or teachers will go?
I also reached out about that. I would be going, Ryan Bishop would be going, Stephanie has already said she would go, if y'all let her go. One of our high school admin would go, and I also have, the Howards, because their daughter is in the honor choir, the Pettits, as two of their, well, Anna's getting ready to graduate, but Maria's in the honor choir. So we would have at least 7 staff members that would go, and I already have 3 other families that have said, me and my husband or me and my wife are interested in going and would go to chaperone. So we'll have at least, I would say, 10 to 12 adults from the school or the school community on the trip as well.
It was on the, did y'all have this sheet on your desk? when you came in? Okay, sorry. I'll upload this and share it out, but it's basically everything you already told us.
When I was in college, I went with a choral group to South Korea. Got the same situation, got invited, and we did Beethoven's Fifth. Is that the Ode to Joy? Ninth.
Yeah.
Thanks. And it was, other than forgetting which one it was life-changing.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe it would be for this kid, so I never forget.
The 2 that was up at Carnegie a few weeks ago have not stopped talking about it since I got home.
They definitely.
I told them, I was like, just be mindful and be respectful when you get back, because you're gonna be back in our normal choir.
Yeah.
They may not sound as good, they may not be as dedicated as everybody else was up there.
I got the opportunity to do this trip.
Did you? It's a lot of fun. I didn't get to go when I was in high school, but I got to go in college, and it was just as incredible.
It's a pleasure. Don't solo.
Too bad there's no.
We have a recording of it. We gotta do it.
Might be an answer to the question. Is donations under this cause, they be tax deductible, won't go through the school, or would they be separate?
I think this is an incredible opportunity, and a huge testament to you, Chase, and the program that you've developed, and the students, and all the hard work that they've put in. So congratulations on this opportunity. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Again, like I said, we're gonna be, voting to approve tonight, allows them to go ahead and get everything working and moving forward. Is there
I'll
a
make a motion to approve that.
motion to approve? Thank you,
Second.
Matt. Second from Kyle. Any other questions or discussion for Chase or the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion Motion carries.
Thank you so much. I
Congratulations.
appreciate it.
Thank you, board. I think this will be life-changing for many of our students as they get to do this, and we're excited. I have a lot of people who want to go.
I know.
I just have to
spring
cancel
break
early
school,
Friday there, so everybody can go. But there was a whole bunch of people who want to go. But thank you for approving, and like I said, you will have the opportunity up to the last minute, due to safety reasons or national emergencies, to cancel this trip with insurance for the kids to make sure they don't lose any money. So thank you very much. That concludes my report.
Are there any public comments to the? No. All right, we will now move into executive session. Is there a motion for executive session? Josh, thank you, your name. Thank you. There's a second?
Second.
Kyle, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in executive session. Thank you all, families and parents, for being here tonight.